Hi guys, so welcome to this video. This one is not to show you another piece in my collection. This one is to show you two things that I use for my chronic disease, and particularly one which I call my pain journal. So this is the regular bullet journal that I do in this Marauder's Map Killing Dory. And this one I will show you very quickly because I will do another video of how I use it. So this is my bullet journal, very simple. This is where I take notes, and finally this is the system that I use to do my health follow-up, something that's readable by a doctor. So I will be going to my specialist right after I do this video, and let's say, as you can see, if I have a nice day, if it becomes difficult or it's really hard and impossible, and that's what my November month looks like. I haven't done the coloring in these ones, but let's see that it's been hard. It's been a hard month. I'll come back to this one later. This is something that I feel in every day. And then once I have checked all the energy I spend and steps I did, then I write down the percentages of what efforts I did to remain less stiff, let's say. And that is a Mr. Darcy Chic Sparrow, I think it's a size wide, and this is my pain journal. And what I do with this is I use this as a reminder that even through dark times I'm still a valuable person. And also I keep weapons in this, mental weapons that will keep me strong, and it's not absolutely not something that is negative or to complain. It's something to remind me that I'm worth it, even when I am diminished, so diminished that I cannot even take care of myself. And it's been a hard month, but I could still take care of myself this month. I could even work for 2 weeks, which was nice, not enough, but nice. So let's have a look at this. So I decided to put in this beautiful notebook that my parents offered to me. These are my initials, real initials. And I chose one of the most beautiful pieces of my collection because I wanted it to be something that I would love. And inside I put 3 inserts which are moleskin cahiers. Not the best choice if you mind perfection. I do not, so I do not mind, and I already showed it a bit. So this is the first part, and frankly I think this is an option that you should consider if, like me, you go through chronic pain, chronic disease, and something that's not ever going to be solved. And it does help. It does help through hard times. So this is the first one. It's poems. Right, so I decorated this so that it would be nice to look at. And here I've got a poem by Margaret Atwood, variations on the word sleep, because I suffer from painsomnia. If you are concerned with chronic diseases, you probably know your fair share of painsomnia. It's when pain is so hard, sleep is not close, and from day to day you move on to exhaustion. So that's about this. Sometimes the pictures are connected to the disease, sometimes it's just pictures that I like to look at, and I like foxes, as many people do. So this one is a poem, and as you can see, I didn't care about perfection. There's a lot of feathering with moleskin cahiers, but I do not care since I cover them with lots of stuff anyways. It doesn't look good, it's just as imperfect as I am. And you can see on the other side, but it doesn't matter. So that was one, a poem by Emily Dickinson. This one is a poem I did myself. Sometimes I do them as well. This is another one that I did myself. So that was November 2016. That's Emily Dickinson. I really like her poems. It seems to me that this woman knew what I'm going through. And that's by Haruki Muraki. Right, this one is by someone I do not know exactly who that person is. I only have the initials, CML. It's a long text about people telling you that you don't look sick. I have had someone do this recently to me, and it's like that person who came to my door did and said about everything you'd never ever say to a chronic person, to a person suffering from a chronic disease. He started by, "You really don't look sick." Like, thanks, I'm on sick leave. Thank you for saying this. I'm just feeling like shit, but I do look as if I am pretending. Thank you so much. And then he went on to suggest homeopathy. Frankly, I have to inject myself in the belly every week things that could kill me. If I could only resort to homeopathy, I would. And it went on like this. And sometimes you just have to have reminders that these people actually exist, that many people who only have the trouble of a full nose once in winter just don't understand what you're going through. And just a nice reminder of what it means when you're told you don't look sick. Yes, I do. I don't look the part, but I totally leave it. Okay. And that's one by Jan Brooks, 2009. So this one is the fact that it's a continuous fight. And I like this idea of being a chronic pain warrior, because society has little respect for people who suffer from chronic diseases. I think it must be something that remains in our society due to Christian being brought up as Christians. But society as a whole looks at chronic disease as punishment. I mean, what have I done? And sometimes at night when I'm suffering, I say, what the hell have I done? What have I done to suffer this? Why am I punished like this? And it goes on and goes on. And I rave about this. And I'm not even a Christian. But it's all this education that makes you feel guilty, always, to be so sick and to be useless when you are not really that useless. But so it's good to be reminded of this. So here, this one is, well, I try to connect the pictures I have with what I say in this. So that's a picture of pain by Bear Patterson, and how hard it is to convey what you feel and how you live every day when you have chronic diseases. So that's the kind of thing. And this one isn't done either. So sometimes what I do is I put pictures, and then when I find a text that corresponds to it, then I just put it inside. So this one is a life in quotes. So it's smaller quotes. This is for poems. This is for other stuff. Right. So it's small quotes like this one. That's the thing about pain. It demands to be felt. It's like when people tell you to ignore the pain. Well, I suppose you can ignore a fair amount of pain. And chronic disease warriors are really good at doing this. Are really good at pretending, smiling, laughing when their body is screaming. And there's just so much pain you can ignore. And then there's a limit to this. So here you've got quotes on the pictures and quotes to the right side. And its remainder, like, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. That's right. You cannot take away the pain, but your reaction to it does matter. So it's small reminders of what you can do. Right, this one I really love. She never seemed shattered. To me, she was a breathtaking mosaic of the battles she's won. And it's really invisible battles. It's like sometimes at work, for me to do one day of work is a tremendous effort. And at the end of the day, there is no recognition of that effort. It's considered as normal, and it's when you cannot go through that day that it is regarded as bad and evil. And sometimes I just say there is absolutely no recognition at work of all the effort that this requires just to go through the day and do what you do and do it with a smile. And when I have to use a cane to stand up and I cannot sit down because my job requires me to stand up, and then I go home and collapse, then I feel the need for that recognition. So that's something interesting. That's about the chronic pain warrior. A reminder to be gentle to myself because I am doing the best I can. That's really important. At the end of the day, all you need is hope and strength. Right, so everything is meant, okay, so most of the things are meant to remind me of what's important, remind me that I'm worth it, and there's also funny stuff, like, I like this one. Would whoever has my voodoo doll please give it a rest? That's the funny part. I've got other funny ones. But here you see, I just put my quotes, and then for the poems, I find pictures, and then I will put the poems after that. For this, I find the quotes, and then I find pictures that say something to me, mean something to me. And, oh, that's an important one. Since I am going to the doctor today, that's an important one. The worst thing you can do to a person with an invisible illness is make them feel like they need to prove how sick they are. That's the most horrible thing you can demand from someone suffering. It's like you go through a huge wall of pain in front of you all the time, and you climb it and go to the other side, and people tell you, can you prove to me that this was a wall? Wasn't it just a step? And it's awful, awful. That's the worst you can do. That and telling a person that they don't look sick, that maybe they're just pretending, or maybe they could make an effort. Well, the thing to know about people who suffer from chronic pain is that every single thing you can think of is an effort. So that's something people should remember. It's like every step is difficult. It's like something that people cannot imagine. Sometimes I am so tired, I have to make a choice between preparing food and eating food. Because once I've prepared the food, I cannot have the strength to eat it. Or I take a shower every morning because I need to feel clean. And once that shower is done, sometimes I have to lie down for 2 or 3 hours. And I know people with chronic issues will connect to this. I know they will. We have a word for this in French, which is asthenia. I have no idea how you pronounce it. It's like your word for fatigue. And it's the worst thing you want to feel. It's worse than pain, in my opinion. This one is from Martin Luther King. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. There's one thing that I learned that was useful, that my husband told me to do, is do not project yourself 3 weeks ahead, because you will never have the courage to go on. He said, take one day after the other, try to do your best, and then we'll see how it goes at the end of the day. And if you cannot go on, then you won't. But then just take one day and one step after the other, and before you know it, you will have climbed the whole staircase. And that's absolutely true. That's one. It's about strength. Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but you keep going anyway. Right, and that was what I had in that part. And this one is book quotes. Okay, so that's just book quotes, and I try to find them in nice pictures, and then I haven't feel that much. Okay, so I hope this gave you an idea of how you can translate your experience into something that would be useful, positively useful, something that will give you strength, and I strongly suggest that people with chronic issues use their journals or one journal in this way, just to alleviate part of their mental emotional troubles, because they always come, these chronic diseases, with emotional burdens, mental fatigue, and the fact that you always have to defend yourself, to be your own advocate, when you hardly have enough strength for the rest. It's really an issue, and this does alleviate your pain. And if you ever have to prove what you go through, you just hand this to someone and tell them, look what I feel. Do you truly believe that my days go very well, or that I am privileged in my right to rest a bit? And also the nice pictures, all the things you can do to make it nice. It's like pampering your old self, because behind the disease there always is this former self that you were before that disease flared up. And I think it's important to connect to this. So obviously this video wasn't meant for most of my usual viewers. This was meant for the people mostly who use bullet journaling for chronic diseases, or who use journaling for their health issues. I am actually an admin in one of those groups on Facebook. I will put the link to that group below. It has become a huge group, and it is meant to provide people with the energy and strength to go on. And also, I might suggest to these people that they watch a page called The Mighty. They have their Facebook page, and that's a really interesting group of people who defend their rights as handicapped, disabled people. And that's very interesting. So thanks for watching. It was a bit long, but thank you so much for taking the time to go to the end of this. And do not hesitate to leave comments below. They would be hugely appreciated.